Hey girl, hey, welcome back. Much love. Always grateful that you let me into your space for 15 minutes of faith. Let's start first with gratitude. Yes. Grateful, gratefulness. Gratefulness, gratefulness, gratefulness will shift everything, will clarify everything, will bring things together so that you can have joy and peace. Gratefulness puts aside the negativity. It helps you kind of focus on really where you are, really on the hope that you should still hold on to. Gratefulness puts things in perspective, and so it's important to be grateful. It's important to realize it's not about, okay, I could be worse off. It's really just to say I was worse off and I'm better, because movement always puts you in another step better. Do you know what I mean? Like if you were, geez Louise, if you were crossing the bridge, say you were afraid of heights and you were crossing a bridge, you starting all the way back there to get across there, imagine that. Take that trip with me. You're walking across the bridge that you really don't want to walk across, and you take your first step and you keep moving and you take the next step and you take the next step and you take the next step, and you're still probably terrified because you're probably looking down and then you kind of go, oh my gosh, look what's going on. But here's where great gratitude comes in, that you turn around and realize the distance you've already gone, and that you're actually closer to the end than you are from the beginning. That's gratitude. Right in there, that space of I'm almost there, that's where it places you. Think about that. Let's meditate on that. So when you having a little bit of hesitation and a little bit, I don't know what to be grateful for, that right there, those steps you have taken, just be grateful for that, and that you were able to do that, right? Okay, let's get in it. All right, I'm gonna start here with actually reading and kind of expand upon that, if that's okay. Okay, I'm trying to be cute today. Not really. Okay, at peace in our present. Remember, check out the blog. Shout out the Honey Factory. Check out the blog, the Honey Factory. Yes. You move mountains, you cause walls to fall. You are amazing just in who you are. You keep things and people together, moving seamlessly and effortlessly. We are able not to be concerned because you are there, you are with us. When we think we are falling, you show us that you have us caught up in your wings, protecting us even when we need protection from ourselves. There is no one like you. If you don't know what I'm talking about by now, I'm going to let you know. It's God. It's not me as an individual. It's not you as an individual. Not your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, your aunt, your uncle, your best friend, your boyfriend, your husband, your wife, whatever. Sorry. Nope. Hate to burst that bubble. Because at the end of the day, when the rubber meets the road, is a lot of times, I mean, even the person close to you may not be able to take that journey with you. Kind of like what I talked about before, when you do that self-care, that health thing, that journey is by yourself. Now you can have somebody there to help comfort you and help, encourage you, but the reality is you are doing that. But guess what? That's, if nothing else, especially in those moments, especially when it's like it really is your own journey, nobody else can, no one can tell you. Like when you're having a down day and somebody could say, I know how you feel, but nobody really knows how you feel except for him. Real talk, except for him. So, if you didn't know, I'm talking about God. Yes, we can turn our lives upside down with a quick and thoughtless decision. I don't know about you, but I've done it plenty of times. We have so many obstacles such as life, and sometimes add to our dilemma with the people we engage, the things we take part in, and even the things we eat, especially. We can do bad. Basically, we can do better by ourselves. We need no help in being jacked up. That was my reality. Let's be for real. I can do this all by myself. I can mess up all by myself. I don't need no help. I don't know about you. I think you could probably do things on your own. Now imagine that you line up with somebody to help you mess it up even worse. Okay, that part. But our life is set on a time schedule. We may not know its end, but we know we do expire. That's real talk. We need to be concerned or worried. We need not to be concerned or worried about the end, but do all that we can in our present. We are on a perfectly timed timeline that has a glorious expected end. We don't need to accelerate it, but enjoy each moment, giving you thanks for each step and second. So basically, in a nutshell, what I'm trying to say is be present. Be present. Have gratitude. Know that God has your back at all times, that he cares for you, that he loves you, and then just really experience life to its fullest. You know, there's decisions that we have to make, and we're not going to always, by ourselves, we're not going to make always the best decision. Even with people around us, we're not going to always make the best decisions. We can ask this person, that person, our best friend, our mother, our father, whoever it is. We can ask them, you know, hey, you know, what do you think I can do? But no one really knows what you should really do. We have a good estimate. Sometimes we have a good idea what is a good idea based on maybe our experiences, but at the end of the day, it doesn't necessarily fit for everyone. So keep that in mind when you do ask for, you know, advice, is that that person may be giving you good advice. And of course it is based on the factor of, you know, that's what they got to experience in their life, right? And so if they got to experience that, it is good. It's not to negate that it is a good idea, but we got to know what fits our particular lives and what was promised to us and what he has in store for us and what, you know, what that path is that he has for our lives, right? And we have to trust the process. Hold on to our hope and take each step of faith, and knowing that God, wouldn't stray us in the wrong direction. And even, you know what's so magnificent is that even in our bad decisions, even in the things that we've decided to listen to others about, even in things that didn't quite line up, he says he'll work it all out still for our good. So even that sucky situation where you kind of go, I cannot believe I did that, and I got a couple that we could talk about. Yeah, so that I'm glad that I've gotten past that and gone, you know what? Well, God, you're so awesome. This is what I learned from it. Cause no, I wasn't really feeling it. Cause there's just some things that seem right. And it felt good. I can tell you I've had decisions, especially when it came down to relationships, that, I mean, do you see him? He looks good. And they said that, and he said this. So isn't that not what you want from me? I mean, he said he would marry me. Isn't that not what you want from me? So why can't I do that? Why can't I? No, but I want to. It feels better. I feel good. Look, I'm not by myself. I don't feel lonely. Yeah, all of that. I've been there. And therefore, I think I can pretty much kind of say, yeah, God's way is still better. Because there's a way that seems, so it always seemed right. It always seemed comfortable. But the reality was, here's my check. My check in it all, I'm going to be, I hate to use the word, but be disobedient. My check in it was, how do I put it? I wasn't being the full me. I was dumbing myself down. I wasn't allowing myself to be fully expressed, because there were certain things that person didn't like. And because they didn't like it, I wanted to keep that person happy. And that's the thing when we decide to say, I'm going to when you say, here, I'll choose this person to be my God, rather than let God be their God, be your God, you then don't get to see your fullness. You don't even feel your fullness. You feel it, it's an emptiness, it's a void, it's this restraint, it's this bondage, it's this ugh. I don't know how else better to say it. And but there's freedom in the sense of being able to say, you know, I'm gonna do it God's way, and I'm gonna trust that he said he was gonna do what he's gonna do, not by my hand, but by his hand, not the way I want it, but the way he wants it. Why? Because he has a better thing in mind. It's even in you know, for those of you that you want to step out and have your own business, but that 9 to 5 looks, feels, and seems so good. It might be there's a frustration that's going on, but you get paid every 2 weeks, right? You get paid every week. You know that check is coming in, and you get to go out to this place, and you get to go here, you get to hang out here, you get to listen to music, you get to have some fun, you get to, when people invite you out, you can go because you know you get paid for it, because you're gonna get paid the next day or the next week or whatever it is. You can go on vacation when you want, not when you want to, but you can afford to go on vacation. You can do this and that because your 9 to 5 allows you to do that. And if I really want to start that business, and I know God's been calling me to do that business, but if I do that, I'm going to miss out on this. And then when they invite me out, I won't be able to go. And I don't know if I know how to do that. And I have to learn this, I have to do that. And you can come up with all types of excuses. But there's a frustration that's going on. There's a frustration, there's a stirring that's going on that says, this ain't it. It's not going to go away. You can turn down the volume. You can do that. It can happen. You can turn down the volume. It gets a little quieter. You may not hear it as loudly because you keep pushing it down. Guess what? You push it down by picking up other things that don't necessarily work for you. And then you figure, maybe I need to step out there. Sometimes some people never do. And then sometimes you hear their regrets. And I don't know about you, but I'm not really interested in a life of regrets. So, it may be uncomfortable to try something new. It may be uncomfortable to do changes. It may be uncomfortable. This God's going to call you to some uncomfortable things. I can attest for that. And if anybody that has stepped out there, you can raise your hand with me and yes, and say, yeah, he's put me in some uncomfortable positions, but I came through it. And if he brought me through that one, he can bring me through this one. Because guess what? Everything's a building block. He doesn't just toss it on you. So just imagine. So if you really want to think about it, it's like this little slight pain that you're going through right now is just something to help build for something greater. And you kind of gotta go, well, shoot. If this is what you got planned, God, because I know you don't just be just throwing things against the wall like I can name a couple of people that do throw it against the wall, a couple of companies that throw it up against. He don't work like that. He's not throwing it up against the wall. He's got it's strategically planned out. If you want to see strategy, I mean, God got all types, and it's a blessing if he lets you in on that strategy, right? So there's a strategy. So there's a long game. It's a long game. Not a short game. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. It's and it's beyond a marathon. It's not even something you can comprehend, but it's a long game. And so that means that there's stuff that's building. Because if you think about all the things you've gone through and you go, well, I can get through that because of this. Did you see the build? It built up. So here's your minute. Here's these few minutes of faith to step in it, to hold tight to it, to hold tight to your hope, to keep pushing forward. And whatever it is that he's tapped you on the shoulder to do, don't be afraid. Just ask him how to do it. Tell him to give you the steps. Tell him to give you the strength. Help build up your faith. But don't ignore it. Don't ignore it. It's so much better. We're all still working through it. As Peter said, Paul said, we're still working towards that. Just working towards it all. And we're just persevering. I haven't quite attained it, but I'm working towards it. But his journey, he enjoyed every bit of his journey, and he would not trade it for anything. There's nothing in there when you read about what Peter did and how he started out and where he ended up being, because I think he would have probably, at the end of the day, probably been like, yeah, I don't know if I want to go to jail because I could stay on this side. But he probably wouldn't trade, you can tell he wouldn't trade it for the world. So when you step into that, you wouldn't trade it. You get excited, you just want to see more. And it, again, they're not going to have perfect days, but you'll have a day that you have lived through, and you can share that experience for those around you. And he gives you the strength and the peace and the provision throughout it all. So have faith and trust and know that he is God. Thank you for tuning in. God bless.